As a wise man once said, those picks, man. You know what? I'm doing the rest of this post-game Miami Heat style because that game was belt to ass, baby. Good old fashion ass whooping. You know what, Tyler Herro? You get front row seats to tonight's post-game show. Go ahead, sit up here on top of Hakeem Olajuwon. You deserved it tonight because you looked like a superstar. All this talk about playoff Jimmy. Oh, look at Jimmy Butler. He scored 38 points last night versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Tyler Herro scored 38 points too. Now that he doesn't have Jimmy Butler standing in his way. Because this whole time, it seems like Jimmy Butler might have been holding Tyler Herro back. Dare I say it? Because remember last year in the play-in game versus Chicago Bulls, there was no Jimmy Butler at that point either. And Tyler Herro almost had a triple-double. I believe he was 1 assist short. And today he completely stuffed the stat sheet with 38 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 turnovers. But he shot 13 of 19, so the efficiency more than makes up for that. And Tyler Herro should have had 40. I mean, they weren't looking for him at the end of the game. He had a 4-point play that got overturned because they said he kicked his leg out. They called it an offensive foul. That's his normal shooting motion. It was a BS call and put some respect on Tyler Herro's name. But easy post game tonight because the Miami Heat went into Chicago. They took a look at Kobe White. They took a look at Josh Giddey. And Davion Mitchell said, "Come here, little boy," and said, "Give me that, baby." That's really the game. I mean, I got a whole bunch of notes. We'll get into them if you'd like to. But it was basically a whole lot out. Boom, boom, boom. All right, that's enough with that belt bit. The game was fun. Listen, I prefer the pick as much as the next guy. But at the same time, if you think that I'm going to actively root against the Miami Heat, you're crazy. Because that game was fun. Yes, the Chicago Bulls were 3-0 against us this year. But the Heat were favored to win this game for a reason. On paper, they're the much better team. I don't care what anybody says. The Bulls, they're headlined by Owas Vucevic and Kobe White, Josh Giddey. Those are good players, but they're not all-stars. You look at the Miami Heat, you got Tyler Herro, current all-star, Bam Adebayo, perennial all-star, defensive player of the year candidate, Andrew Wiggins, former all-star champion. You had to come into this game and dominate, and that's exactly what we got from the jump, man. Listen, I understand. We all know if the Heat make the playoffs, they do not keep their first-round pick this year. But at some point, we have to feel good about the guys that are on the team. Because what good is bringing in another draft prospect if we're adding them to a core who sucks? And if the Heat would have came in today with a disappointing effort, if Herro played like trash, if Bam played like trash, which he wasn't great, but he didn't really have to do anything, so I'll cut him some slack. But if those guys play terrible, if your guys play terrible, I wouldn't feel good if Cooper Flagg joined this team or Kevin Durant or Zion Williamson. I wouldn't care because you're adding them to a core that sucks if they had a disappointing effort. But that's not what we saw today. I wanted to see this Heat team dominate, and that's exactly what we saw. So, yes, I feel very, very good. And if the Heat lose to the Chicago Bulls in a valiant effort, I won't be so mad either because then we get that pick. But I'll kind of get into my notes from tonight's game. We'll look through the box score. We'll look ahead in their next game versus the Hawks. So going into the game today, Josh Giddey was actually questionable. They said that he had a muscle tear in his wrist, but he was going to play through it. It sounds like something that'd be very hard to play through. But I give him credit because he played well tonight. Of course, his last 2 games versus us this year, he had triple doubles. And today he had 25 and 10. So once again, was very, very good against us. On the Heat side of things, a few guys were questionable. Nikola Jovic, Pelle Larsson. Jovic is still out. Larsson was technically available. But of course, neither one of those guys played. And then in the first quarter, the Heat got off to a hot start for Chicago to call the first timeout. And a lot of times in these elimination games, I like to pay attention to who the first team to call a timeout is because it really shows that the other team is the one setting the tone. And in an elimination game, that's critical because you never know who's going to be nervous, who's going to show up, who the lights are going to be too bright for. But the Heat got off to a hot start, up 10-5. Tyler Herro was doing whatever the hell he wanted. Had some beautiful layups, a great dime to Bam Adebayo. Although Chicago's defense was terrible, I will admit. But I'm not gonna be a party pooper like Bob Myers at halftime. They get to halftime. Udonis has him there. He's great. I love to see my boy thriving on ESPN. He does an awesome job. And they're praising Tyler Herro. Shout out to ESPN for finally giving Tyler Herro some credit. But then they cut to Bob Myers, and he's like, well, the Bulls are just playing bad defense. Can you at least give Herro some credit first before talking about the Bulls' defense? It wasn't all bad. Tyler Herro made some hell of a plays and adjustments and change of pace and had some crafty finishes in the paint as well. And some great dimes, too. Khalil Ware had a great dime in the first quarter also to Andrew Wiggins cutting. Khalil Ware continues to continues to sprinkle in these little special plays in addition to the rebounding and points and all that stuff. Because although Khalil Ware today only had 6 points and 9 rebounds, he did have 3 assists. He had a couple of nice putbacks. And it was nice to see him, in my opinion, have what I thought was an effective game. Because last time they played the Bulls, he kind of got killed by Vucevic. Wasn't great. But it was a plus 14 today. He was a factor. He was active out there. Andrew Wiggins himself got off to a nice start, hit a couple of early corner threes, which is important because it means he's playing in the flow of the offense. A lot of people or Heat fans were frustrated. They were saying Wiggins was taking a lot of isolation-heavy shots. He likes to go to that mid-range step back, which I don't hate, but I understand taking isolation long 2 step backs isn't the most efficient shot. But the fact that he showed on multiple occasions today, he's able to space the floor by sitting in that corner and be effective hitting that corner 3 is very important. Wiggins 4 of 9 from 3 today, which was great. Finished with 20 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. So we also saw finally some of that great defense that was kind of hyped about when he was coming here. But then Tyler Herro kept it going. He hit a deep 3, which finally put the Heat up double digits, which I'm sure made none of us feel safe. Obviously, Heat double-digit lead versus the Bulls. Where have we heard that before? And then to end the quarter, the Heat actually had a turnover, which led to a Modest Buzelis buzzer beater, which made the Heat only up 11. But it was a good first quarter for the Heat. Herro had 16. He was absolutely perfect. 6 of 6 in the first quarter. Wiggins had 10. Bam had 7. Those were the 3 guys that I wanted to see step up in this playing game. It's an elimination game. Your stars have to prove that they are stars. This postseason is a make or break for Tyler Herro. I feel like I've said that every offseason, which really means none of them are make or breaks because the whole point of a make or break offseason is you make or break. You get what I'm trying to say. But obviously last season they played the Celtics. That's a tough matchup. The Heat lost in 5. The one game they won, Herro was great. The other games, he was pretty poor. But going into this season, he's an all-star. I wanted to see him carry his strong regular season play into the postseason. We saw it in the first playing game. Ultimate respect to Tyler Herro for it. Let's see if he can keep it up. Bam Adebayo, kind of the same thing. He had a strong second half of the season. I wanted to see him continue it in the postseason. Today, he wasn't great or super efficient. He shot 6 of 16, only had 15 points and 12 rebounds. But that's fine. You know, he kind of limited Vucevic today to, what did Vucevic finish with? 16 and 12, so they basically had similar numbers, but that's fine. You didn't need a ton from Bam Adebayo today. Shot a ton of threes. How many threes did he finish with? Yeah, 1 of 5 from 3. Even took some isolation ones late in the game when I wanted them to force feed Tyler Herro to try to get that 40. But that's fine. To me, that means that Bam Adebayo is confident. I want him to continue to shoot as long as he finds a good balance between attacking and spreading spacing to the three-point line as well. And then Andrew Wiggins, a guy that was okay when he played this year. He had some really good games, but he couldn't stay healthy. You are a big trade piece in the Jimmy Butler trade. Come into the postseason and perform. And we already talked about his stats. He played pretty well today, I think. In the second quarter, Tyler Herro had another great dime where he whipped it to a cutting Khalil Ware, helping the Heat kind of play with some pace to match what Chicago was trying to do. And then Duncan Robinson hit some tough threes. This one, he can't be guarded in a phone booth, Duncan Robinson. He had the Bulls defender all up in his face, in his airspace, and just raised up, bang, cash. When Duncan Robinson's hitting like that, it's a special thing to watch. And that's when the Heat were firing on all cylinders. And the Heat were up 23. Ended up being 24 at the half, with Tyler Herro still being perfect. 8 for 8 shooting, 23 points. In the third quarter, the Heat would go up as much as 25, but it would get cut down to, I think, as much as 13 is what the quarter actually ended with. Modest Buzelis got going a little bit, was attacking Herro. I think Modest is going to be a great player. I mean, a 6'10 guy with his shot and his handle. I think he'll be special one day. I really do. And Modest tonight finished with 9.6 rebounds on 4-9 shooting. So he didn't stand out in the stat sheet, but you can tell he's a very skilled player, especially for his size. And he had a really good rookie season. He really did. And then we had Giddey was hitting some threes. Kobe White was hitting some threes. The Bulls crowd was really getting into it. After actually booing their team at halftime, they were starting to really get into it. And then to end the quarter, the Heat were up, I think, 17. And then they had a turnover that led to a Giddey layup. And then Talen Horton-Tucker hit a wild, heavily contested fadeaway on the baseline to cut it to 13 at the end of the quarter. Just wanted to note that because it's like, okay, the Heat were up 25, but then they're only up 17. That's fine. But then you play a poor 40 seconds, and all of a sudden a 17-point lead is 13. So you play decent the whole quarter, but if you don't close out the last minute to two of every quarter, sometimes that's the most important time frames of the whole game. Whoever finishes the quarter strong, it just gives them a big edge because you're looking at a 13-point deficit going into the fourth quarter. That's possible for the Chicago Bulls. But they would never really get any closer, I don't think. The Heat ended up being 16 with about 9 minutes to go. That's when Tyler Herro hit that three that they called an offensive foul. Shout out to Spo for challenging it right away, trusting his players. Terrible to not overturn it. Herro shot a fadeaway three. Obviously, your legs go forward a little bit when you fade away. I think Giddey or Buzelis ran into him. They called an offensive foul. It's very obvious when guys do that. They stick their leg out to the side. They flick their head back. They flail all over the place. That's not what Tyler Herro was trying to do. So I just didn't like that the refs robbed him of that. But part of the reason the Heat were able to stay in it was Davion Mitchell. His energy was incredible today. Really had one of the plays of the game where shot clock was winding down. Kobe White's going ISO. Davion Mitchell is absolutely glued to him like a shadow. Packed him at the buzzer, shot clock violation, then sees Josh Giddey on him on the other end, goes ISO and does a nice quick double cross to get into the paint and just finish with a high arcing floater over the taller Josh Giddey. That would put the Heat up 17 with about 7.5 to go. And then Herro really got things going again. There was one play where the shot clock was winding down for him. He was in the corner, and it looked like he might do a lot of what he does a lot of times, which is settle for like a step back fadeaway in the corner. But no, he took the defender to the paint, driving baseline with a great dribble move, and finished off the backboard, which is exactly what you want to do in that spot to make it the easiest finish possible. And then we saw garbage time with about 2 minutes to go. We saw my boy Jaime Jaquez check in, Kashad Johnson, no Terry Rozier, which what does that tell you about him? Can't even check in during garbage time. But let's run through the rest of these stats real quick. We talked about Wiggins. We talked about Bam. Khalil Ware, only 22 minutes. I didn't think he'd play a ton today just because Vucevic is a very bigger body. Same might be the case when they play the Hawks because Clint Capella is a similar type of mold as far as a guy that likes to hang out in the paint, at least for rebounds because obviously Vucevic can stretch the floor. But you know what I mean. Capella, Vucevic, they're very big bodies. But then if the Heat do advance to play the Cavaliers, Khalil Ware should play a lot because obviously they got the Twin Towers, Mobley and Jared Allen. I could see them putting Ware on either of those two guys because obviously they need Ware's size to box them out. And Allen is big, but obviously Mobley's a bit skinnier, so maybe we see that match up some of the time. But Alec Burks today did get the start, had 2 points for you. Tyler Herro again, man. 38 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 68% shooting. Shout out to Tyler Herro, bro. Like that was fun. That was really dope. Like that actually makes me positive about him going forward. But let's see more of it. And not 38 points on 63% every day, but affect the game as positively as you did today. Whether it's with your playmaking, whether it's with your short shooting, whether it's you getting into the paint, find ways to continually impact the game like a star. That's what we saw from Trae Young when we played them a couple times this year. His numbers may not always jump out at you, but the way he runs an offense and gets other guys involved, you see a star impact from Trae Young. I want to continue to see that from Herro. Off the bench, Haywood Highsmith, 5 points. Davion Mitchell, 33 minutes. Played, I guess, fourth most on the team, behind Bam, Herro, and Wiggins. That's not surprising. I do expect to continue to see that workload from him going forward. He had 15 points and 9 assists and 5 of 5 shooting, too, 100%. Can't wait to check how many turnovers he has. This is my favorite part of these videos. 4 turnovers. So not as good as he usually does, but 9 assists to 4 turnovers, not that bad at all. And he continues to just be a super efficient player who brings hustle and energy and efficiency. Love Davion Mitchell, man. He's definitely will be retained from the Miami Heat this offseason. I just hope they don't overpay him. Kyle Anderson did get 22 minutes tonight. I don't really expect Jovic to come back even in the postseason. I mean, I guess if they play the Cavs, the Heat are going to need that size of Jovic, even though he's only about an inch taller. But it's just coming back straight into the postseason after a month of being out. That's going to be tough, and especially for a guy like Jovic who's only 20 years old. I just don't think Spo will go back to him because of that. And not this year. I think he trusts Kyle Anderson too much, who's been playing too well. Kyle Anderson will be your guy for the next game and then potentially the playoffs. Didn't score today, but had 5 assists. And defensively, he is very well as well. He's just such a smart player, and I love what he brought today. And then Duncan Robinson, the last guy off the bench, 8 points for him, 3-6 shooting, so not too bad at all. That being said, the Heat do play the next game versus the Atlanta Hawks on Friday at 7 o'clock. And I've been said this even before today's game. Although I want them to miss the playoffs, I do think they end up getting in. Obviously, they kicked the ass today. They should do the same to the Atlanta Hawks. You look at the Bulls, they're a team that let go of DeMar DeRozan in the offseason. They traded Zach LaVine. They had Josh Giddey hurt. They are trying to rebuild. You should have beat their ass, and you did. The same goes for the Atlanta Hawks, who obviously they traded Bogdan Bogdanovic, Clint Capella. They're clearly going to let go this offseason. They are entering a rebuilding phase. They also have the injuries because Jalen Johnson is out for the season. So this is another team that you should be favored against, and you should dominate them. Maybe not dominate. It's the NBA. All these guys are professionals, but you should beat this game. And if they do go in there and have a similar performance, I'll be very, very happy with that. And then if that happens, we'll talk about some Cavs games after that. But yeah, I'll be back at my mom's place and Davie over there because that is Easter weekend. So the next video y'all see, or not the next video, I'll probably get something up tomorrow. But the post game for that will be over there. So hopefully I can have a good time celebrating the Heat get to the playoffs with the fam. Or celebrating the Heat getting the draft pick. You can't lose when you have the optimistic mindset that I do, and I kind of like that. Anyways, make sure y'all subscribe so you don't miss the future videos I have coming out. Like and comment your thoughts down below because I'm very curious to hear what y'all think. All the support is greatly appreciated. See y'all in the next one. Peace out, everyone.
Look, pull up in your city tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.